Okay, mate. Well, thank you for coming back to the podcast. Why don't you explain in general terms, in simple English, what is it that you're going to be sharing with us today?
So today what we are going to see is that the power of agentic coding itself. I'm not saying the vibe coding because vibe coding is not a good technical term. Agentic coding itself, and we are going to create an MVP, minimum viable product, in 1 hour. Okay, so that we are going to just see that how work that is generally done in 7 days or 10 days can be reduced in 1 hour work or 2 hour work, just like that. So that for empowering the oil and gas engineers with these agentic tools. So they have the idea, they have the domain knowledge with themselves. Generally, most of them also knows a little bit of coding, but creating or developing the complete application requires more than general coding. So that thing for that particular bottleneck is solved in today's LLM world. So that is the thing that we are going to discuss today, and we'll be creating this application. So again, if you are able to see, we have this Claude open. So Claude is just like your chat GPT. It's a model by Anthropic. There are different models inside it. It's very good for coding, and generally I use in my day-to-day life Claude more than chat GPT. So in Claude itself, I created an initial plan. It's all on the go. No code is present pre-hand. We are going to build the complete thing in this session itself. So I just created a plan that let's create a well completion design advisor. Okay, application well completion design advisor that is going to take the input like formation type, depth, pressure, fluid properties from user, and then agentic system is going to run, and it is going to give the perforation strategy, stimulation design, and a complete completion recommendation memo it is going to give. So you are able to see it asked me certain questions that, okay, what interface do you want to build? I just selected Streamlit because, it's a 1 hour thing. So I do not want to, create a big application. We have the time constraint. So Streamlit. Then how agentic should it be? So I said full agentic tool, polling agent, all those things need to be there. And I also created a chatbot inside it that, okay, we are going to create a chatbot. Then it
Can you explain the audience, Jayesh, that you are actually interfacing with Claude Chat? You're not in any of the gazillion products that Claude has been shipping lately.
Yeah, it's just, Claude desktop application. If you see, my other chats are there,
Yeah.
all those things are there. Just like your chat GPT, it's the Claude chat.
And you
So here,
started from scratch asking in plain English that you wanted to build an application with the description you just gave,
yes.
a completion
So
advisor, and Claude is asking you these preferences before
what else?
actually sending you out the plan to
Yes,
actually build it.
yes. So it is just doing the question answering with me, so that just treat this Claude as an assistant, so that you have a plan in your mind, you need to tell it. Then the assistant is going to ask some questions. It has asked me those particular questions that, okay, what exactly do you want? Once those questions are clear to the assistant, then it is going to give me a complete plan that, okay, how it is going to look like. So this is the plan. This is the tech stack that it is going to use. Okay, this is the or this is the description of the product, what it is going to do. User is going to fill a sidebar about formation, depth, pressure, fluid properties, and there will be one button analyze, and Claude agent runs through three tools in sequence. We'll be using GPT model here in our backend, not the Claude model, because I have APIs of GPT. Okay, but yeah, both of them are kind of same. It's just calling different models from the backend. Then it will stream a structured completion recommendation. And user can ask the follow-up question also that, okay, why this type of perforation, not the other type, just like that. It will be a chat box type of thing that have the information, that have the knowledge of a completion engineer. Okay. Tools will be created. Tools are basically external functions that generally your LLM calls. Okay, so three functions will be created: calculate fracture gradient, recommend perforation strategy, and estimate a stimulation design. Okay. So these functions will be created separately, and there will be one LLM that is going to orchestrate all these tools, that is going to decide when to call a particular tool, what will be the output from that particular tool, and if that output needs further fine tuning or not.
I think it's worth stopping there for a second to explain that that is what makes this an agentic workflow as opposed to a regular workflow, which is just a series of instructions one after the other. Here is depending on the results by those tools or functions, then the decision comes to go one way or the other, right?
Yeah. So in what happens in single flow, you just give something to the LLM, LLM give the output that is shown to the user. In agentic, what happens? Some external tools comes into picture. LLM decide which tool to call when. Basically, LLM will be the brain, tools will be its hands and legs, and it will function like a human being.
Yeah,
So that is
fantastic.
what agentic flow is. And it has given the complete folder structure also. This is the folder structure that it is going to look like. And this is a 1 hour sprint plan that, okay, what will happen? We'll first of all create a cloud.md file. It's just documentation file that generally Cloud Code loads. Whenever we launch a session of Cloud Code, it loads this particular file. Then in the next 10 minutes, it will be creating tools.py, then agent.py, then app.py. We'll test it locally. We'll see if some edge cases are there, some UI changes we need to do. We'll do it, and then we'll try to deploy it. Okay. And basically it has created the cloud.md file for us also, that okay, just we are just going to paste this particular file in our project directory. It has all the information about our project goal, stack, file, which tools to create, what will be the agentic loop looking like, what will be the sidebars in our application, all those information. So basically this cloud.md file will be read by our Claude Code that we are going to use. Okay, little bit of changes I need to do. For example, it's saying create an entropic agent, entropic client. So I'll just mention that, okay, we are not going to use entropic, we'll be using GPT. Not going to use entropic, we will be using GPT API. Okay, make those changes. Retrospective changes. And about GSD framework, we will not be using. Not be using. Because it has written this GSD rules. So that's why,
Right.
let me just so update these rules accordingly.
Now, what is it at this point that prompted you to decide not to use GSD? This requires your prior knowledge of the framework you want to utilize.
Yes, yes. And one more thing is GSD is a great framework. I'll show you in a couple of minutes. But what happens, GSD does a lot of research before executing the code. Okay. And that's why if we are creating a complete application, right, when we are deployable application that will be used by thousands of users, and you have enough time in your hand, for example, not a 1 hour, then obviously I use GSD, and in regular basis I use GSD, and there is other frameworks, superpowers, we'll talk about them. These are generally pretty good frameworks because what happens in them, you just need to brainstorm with them for an hour, maximum an hour, and after that they will go on work in loop for 2 3 hours, and it will come back with the initial product. So you can do anything in those 2 3 hours. Basically, your work is done in the 1 hour itself. On the other hand, when we directly use plain Claude Code, then obviously we need to sit with it, do certain iterations. So that iteration part is generally 70 80% covered by GST. Obviously, there will be some changes that need to be done once the GST has given the product. But yeah, at least reduction in the work is done. So this GST, and it has basically Cloud itself has memory, and it has memory of my older conversation that okay, in my previous some of my previous product I have used GSD framework. That's why it has automatically written these GSD rules. Then it has also given the system prompt. It will be written. Basically, this complete thing will just copy, and we'll now shoot a Claude Code terminal, and we'll just paste it there. Okay. First Claude prompt is also there. All things are there. Okay. Let me just write this thing so that our final plan will be there. In the meantime, let me create a folder here. Just opening my folder system. So there you go. You can see an empty folder is created here. Completion design completely empty. Oh, where it went? Completely empty. Okay.
Mhm.
Now let me open this completion design in VS Code. VS Code or directly in terminal you can open, but I generally prefer to see the code that is written by Claude.
Yeah.
Taking a little bit of time in the meanwhile, let's see what has happened. Got it. Here's the updated plan. Updated the plan and even our first Claude Code prompt also. So we'll copy it and let's see our VS Code is opened or not. Yeah, so our VS Code is open. So either you can run from these extensions also, or you can just open the terminal also. Both things works. Let's open the terminal of VS Code.
So meanwhile, Jayesh, can I please ask you to just go back to the chat and go back to the very beginning of the chat history?
Yeah,
Um,
just a second. Let me just initialize the Claude. So this I'm writing, just writing the Claude, and if Claude Code is installed in your system, it will just run the Claude Code. And I'm writing dangerously skip permissions so that it doesn't ask for my permissions again and again. Okay, it runs in YOLO mode. I guess direct terminal we need to use. Yes. So in very starting itself, what I did actually, I was planning for this webinar itself. So I just told that, okay, I have a podcast tomorrow, not yesterday. So just give me some application that we can do using the Cloud Code in 1 hour. And it said that, okay, DCF, these some of the initial application it said. Then I needed to update some of the memory of it because it was giving me some answers in Hindi. So after that, I said, okay, that is fine. But all these options are old, come up with something new. And also, I don't have any data with me. Why I said I don't have any data with me is that let it search the internet also for the data. Sometimes what happens, students or working professional itself doesn't have the data that is being required for a particular use case. So Claude has the ability to interact with the Google Chrome as well as searching the internet itself. So that's why that particular line was written by me. Then it came up with certain ideas: drilling incident report, well completion design, HSC permit to work, oil and gas contract clause, wellbore integrity. Then I said, let's go with the well completion design advisor. Okay. And yeah, then I said, then it started to ask the question answer that we did. That
yeah,
we,
scroll up just one sec. There. That's
yeah,
where the agentic term comes for the first time in the chat. And the reason that I wanted to show that is because the typical experience of someone interacting with these LLMs is just, regular questions and answers. But here, you can use the very same chat to actually get guidance as to how to build agents and agentic workflows. Because people keep hearing this stuff, they don't know how to go about this. So they think it's something completely different. They need to learn coding, they need to go into different platforms. So
whole
through the chat interface, you get all the instructions you need to go about building agents or agentic workflows.
Yes, and even if you want to learn the coding for agentic, also you can do from this chat interface itself. No need to go there because, as I said, this particular applications or these models have the access to internet. So you are going to search on Google that okay, learn agentic. It is going to show something directly right here that I want to learn agentic systems, and it will search all the things from Google, give a complete plan to you, even start teaching you as a teacher.
Yeah.
So now coming back to our thing, so our cloud is loaded, cloud code is loaded, and for using cloud code, you need to have the pro subscription, at least $20 one. And there is this $100 one also that you can use. So this is our cloud.md that is fine. First of all, let's create this cloud.md in our system. In the same folder itself, okay, in the same folder itself, where we are will be building our application, just create Claude.md. By default, your Claude is going to read this Claude.md automatically. This is just like the documentation.
Yeah.
This is just like the documentation for your application. Okay. Claude.md is created. After that, let's just copy paste it, the first prompt itself, and let's see, and let me just see if in Claude.md file structure is mentioned. Yes, file structure is mentioned. So let's just copy paste the first prompt, and apart from that, anything else if we are missing, system prompt, let me just write, this is the system prompt. Tools information is there, tools is there, and here is the system prompt that our application will read. Okay, so it has started to read the cloud.md, and it will ask some questions if it have. And actually, if I just have written brainstorming, if you see this brainstorming, this is one of the skill. This is again from your superpowers plugin. Then what it would have done before starting anything, it would have started asking me questions. Okay, it would have started the brainstorming, and after that, it is going to write any code. One biggest, okay, let me tell about the bottlenecks also. One of the biggest bottlenecks is token usage. Okay, so whenever I am doing the coding, this particular usage page is always open in my second window, just seeing that okay, how much usage of for this particular session is pending. So my next session will be set in 2 hours. And I use 9% usage in this particular session. Okay,
Yeah.
so we'll see also that by the end of this particular video, or by the end of this particular project, how much token usage it has done.
Hmm.
Because in the upcoming time, this token usage thing will become very important, because currently all these Anthropic and the GPT, all these models are running on VC's money, right? They are burning the money. Exactly, they are burning the money. Why? Because if you see the original usage, there is this. I'll show you the original usage also. I'm on a $20 plan, and this CC usage actually show you how much dollars you have used. Okay, so if you see this original usage, this is from okay 29 first. Let's say it's from 1st February. It's from 1st February till 1st February till now. I've used $106. Okay, it's been how many months? Feb, March, April, and half
Yeah.
of my staff.
Four or
So
five
actually,
months.
yeah, I have paid 4 months, nearly 4 months. I have paid $80, but I have used around $106. And actually, why it's less? It's less because I also, recharged my plan. There is this API recharge also. I recharged my plan. If you see, there is this current balance also present. So my total usage was actually much higher than $106, right? So my point here is currently people are exploiting this particular limits, but in coming time when VC's money will also stop, right? So this cost usage is going to increase. So then the engineers who have who can work more in less number of tokens, that particular skill will become very important. Okay, it has written my system prompt. It has written tools.py, agent.py, prompt.py, app.py, requirements also written, Streamlit and OpenAI. Okay, two things are required. Open API key I'll put in environment. Sanity check it has also done, and according to it, complete application is ready. So is complete application ready? It was pretty fast. Okay, and as I said, it is initial MVP. Obviously, you can't productionize this application. Yes, the application is ready. You need to do these things. Okay, I'll be putting. I will be putting my OpenAI key in .env. Here, Open API key we need to put, because it's it will be calling the LLM, and I'll put it. We can't share it with other people, so I'll put it in the while, and then 3 changes. Yes, this thing is important because if we do not put this .env in git ignore,
Yeah.
then it will be pushed to GitHub and other people can abuse your key. Let me create a git ignore. Let me just write .env. It's fine. What else? Okay. So agents.py have in one of my environment, I guess I already have the Streamlit, so we'll check it out first. In this environment, I have Streamlit. Agent.py have our agent that will be calling our tools. Conversation is going on, and conversation, I guess it will be storing inside a list of dictionary. Okay. So when we productionize this application, you need to add memory also. Currently, it is just storing for a session memory itself in dictionary, but that doesn't exactly works, right? For example, we are productionizing it. Thousands of people, thousands of completion engineers are using it, and we can't use dictionary for storing the previous historical message. So proper memory in LangChain itself, memory usage is there, or just integrate a DB with it. So those things need to be taken care. Actually, I'm touching on both the things that okay, agentic coding can help reduce your work, but it can't do complete work of yours. So people who are saying AI is going to replace your job, not at least in upcoming 5 years. But the people using AI, they are obviously going to replace your job. Okay. So this is our system prompt. You are a senior petroleum engineer with 20 plus years of experience. These are your role and your output structure look like this. Well summary, geomechanics, pressure analysis, perforation recommendation, stimulation design, operational consideration, key performance. For follow-up question, answer directly and precisely. You may can call tools again. And there are our tools.py. Fracture gradient, PPG, and poison ratio it has taken for sedimentary rocks. Recommendation perforation strategy. It has given some of the hard-coded rules here. Okay. If skin factor are different, what need to be done, all those information is done. Estimate simulation design. Okay, these things are fine. Let's try to run it and let's see.
And all of these was extracted from the internet. So the knowledge Claude has inside this app is not provided by you. You didn't provide any of the documentation about drilling, about completion, about anything oil and gas related. Everything is coming from their knowledge base and the
Yeah,
internet.
because this Claude itself must have trained on all the information, all the documentation itself. So it knows all the domains.
Yeah.
And whenever we encounter that, okay, a model doesn't know about a certain domain, their RAG comes into picture. Basically, we feed our documentation to the LLM. RAG, retrieval augmented generation, comes into picture. That is also one of a great use case of AI. Nowadays, agentic RAGs are also there. Is the RAG with the flavor of agent. Basically, RAG itself taking the decisions that okay, how can I update my retrieval step? How can I get better with the generation? And few weeks back, one great thing came into picture. Andrew Karpathy shared one particular repo, auto research. That is pretty good. That is a great tool. Basically, if you are training a model itself, for example, if you are training in our last, conversation, we saw a forecasting tool, right?
Hmm.
LSTM was getting trained. So auto research does what? It will fine tune the LSTM itself. You just need to mention that, okay, I need to create a forecasting tool where my mean absolute percentage error is less than this, or where my MA is less than this. And this is a forecasting tool for oil and gas forecasting. Use your full petroleum engineering knowledge and then fine tune the LSTM until unless you get these particular metric. Basically, we define the metric and it is going to fine tune the LSTM model again and again until it reaches to that particular metric. So auto research, that is a great tool or great documentation file. People, the audience can look into it. Great tool. So now let's run our Streamlit app. If it runs fine, then we'll be creating a Docker container because we will be deploying it on a phase, right? So for that Docker container will be required. And here we go. Let's see. Okay. Configure the, let's say these are the well parameters itself. Not going to change anything. Let's see. And it has given me error. Invalid API key. Okay, I haven't put the API key. I forgot. Let me just quickly put the API key on it. Okay, time. And I'll show you auto research in the meantime when I
Yeah.
put. So this is the repository by Andrew Karpathy. Andrew Karpathy is one of the researchers that was present in OpenAI. He has also worked in Tesla. He has also worked with Meta, SpaceX. Great guy. Whenever he drops anything in his GitHub, and I'll advise all the audience to follow his GitHub, it booms the complete AI industry. This auto research, and few days back he also shared one of the things. I guess here it is not present. Basically, he tweeted one of the things that okay, how Claude must how Claude must behave. So some other person created that particular skill inside Claude, Andrew Karpathy's skills. Some other person just take the Andrew Karpathy's tweet and created that skill and see the number of stars that it got. So that's the impact of Andrew Karpathy's name in AI industry.
So just take the Claude.md from this guy and check it in.
Yes, we guys we can take this cloud.md just and we can paste it in our our project directory, and our cloud will get better. Basically, four rules are written, nothing else. First is think before coding without writing. First, without means first of all, instead of writing the any piece of code, think about it. And if you have any question, just ask it. Second is simplicity first, because generally Cloud behaves in this way that it creates a, let's say if we are writing a vague query to it, that okay, if we had written without Cloud.md, if we would have written that okay, create a this particular application for completion design, it would have created 40-50 number of files. Try to complex the things. That's why for that this simplicity first rule is written. Okay, minimum code that solves the problem. No feature beyond what are asked, no abstraction of for single use code, no flexibility. Surgical change, touch only those things that need to be touched. Don't clean up all other things. Okay, or don't write extra things. And one more is goal driven execution. If ask the user what exactly their final goal is, what exactly the metrics they want in the end, or what is basically the testing situation they want to clear, and execute the code accordingly. These four simple rules, and these four simple rules can create, can make our Claude great in programming. Now let's rerun it. See, okay, it has calculated the fracture gradient. It's showing the steps also. So here is the complete report. The well is producing from sandstone at a 2 vertical depth of 8500. It is characterized by a pressure of 3200. Okay, this is just summarizing our thing. Geomechanics fracture gradient was calculated to be 0.6433 psi per feet. Fracture pressure of 5468. Safe mud made window is between 8.9 and 11.8 ppg, which indicates no immediate HPST challenges. Perforation recommendation: big hole charge to maximize inflow, short density, phase angle, all this information it's giving. And it's not directly coming in one LLM call. Generally, one LLM call can't do a lot of things together. Before that final LLM call, it has given all the calculation, all the things together, and then last LLM call has created this complete. document. Okay, and I'm not getting the chat option here. Okay, see this thing is there. So I need to write again in my chat Claude Code. Where is the chat option? And one more good thing that I use a lot is taking the screenshot and pasting it out there. Okay, that will give the visual evidence also to the cloud that okay, this particular feature is missing or this thing is not looking good. For example, certain UI design thing also I do for my application that I'm building. So there, if I have to change the color of something or change the design of some particular element, I just take the screenshot, mention that okay, this is not looking good.
Yeah, same. While it thinks there, let me ask you, I think it's great to observe in real time the workflow to create an app. I mean, took a few minutes. We have a fully functional Streamlit app there.
Hmm.
But in this particular example, because the underlying maths are quite simple, I
Yes.
wonder what would be the key difference compared to just providing a huge prompt with all the context needed directly to the LLM in one go.
So your thing is right. One more thing, why I said GSD in the starting was this only because we just given a particular prompt. Okay, in one particular prompt, the chance of failing is very huge. So I'll just show you this GSD how it works. It's also a plugin for the Cloud Code itself. Once you get install it, so whenever you open a Cloud Code, you can just write GSD and you'll be able to see different things that are there. Okay. So I'll give a quick overview and how this is pure agentic thing. So you can initialize a new project and then you can start discussing the phase. Basically, in this GSD new project, it will ask you question that, okay, what exactly you want to build, what will be the tech stack. A lot of question answering will be there, 30, 20, 30 round of question answering. Okay. Then it will get the complete, information about what you are building or about complete knowledge about what you are building. Then it will create a plan. It will say that okay boss, instead of doing all the thing in one iteration, let's do it in 4 5 phases. Phase one will be creating the back end, or phase two will be creating the oil and gas knowledge base, where we'll be writing many different tools for doing the calculation. Phase three will be creating the front end, phase four will be integrating them, and phase five will be deployment. Okay. Then one phase will start, for example, discuss phase one will be starting, let's say it is creating backend or creating oil and gas knowledge base. So it will again start to ask questions. It will start to, do the research from the internet. It will try to get the content from the internet, and from our question answers, it will create a final plan. For that, this plan phase one, this step will come up. And once final plan is created, then execute phase one will happen. Okay. And what all these things do, I'll show you in one of my GitHub. Actually, these two are my personal projects. These I can't show at the moment. Uh, show the product itself. This is the one that is open source, and this I created using GSD. So if you see here, this dot planning folder is there, and in this dot planning folder, complete roadmap, what you are building, what will be the different phases, all those things are written. And for each of the phase, what was the research it did, what were the what was the architecture it should build, all these things are written. And when we have this type of documentation with us or with Cloud Code, then you'll be able to see the difference between the application that it has created.
Yeah,
That's where agentic thing comes into picture.
yeah, yeah,
And
for sure.
I'll show you this particular thing, the repository that I was talking about, this interview valley itself. This is one of the thing that I am building, and it's completely built by me only, one person army. I am a petroleum engineer. I didn't have any front end back end knowledge 5 years back. Front end I still do not have. This complete design, all the things was done by me only using Claude and other AI tools. It's a complete end-to-end product where you can give mock interviews or interviews can be had all by Cloud Code. and other some of the other tools also. Okay. So if I can do it, anyone can do it.
That's cool, man. Looks really cool.
And whenever we have a chat box, right, there is some other thing known as guardrail that also need to be implemented. By default, it hasn't implemented. What is guardrail? Guardrail basically stops your LLM to answer unnecessary question. For example, if I start asking it here that what is random forest, it will start giving me answer, right? So for stopping that particular thing, guardrails are implemented, and the audience must have seen certain tweets itself over the last couple of months that certain chat box of a food delivery application or other applications didn't have the proper guardrail implemented. So they just started to ask random question and it started to give them answer. So that's why guardrails are important, and it has given why short 5 short per week
Yeah, there were
target.
some posts on LinkedIn about don't remember the nature of the question, but to the McDonald's chatbot.
Yeah, that only. For example, let's see. If I ask what is random forest, will it give me the answer? Yeah, see here. So
Yeah,
guardrail was not implemented, that's why it gave me answer. So let's try to do
yeah.
one. Let's see if it can. Okay, boss. Okay, but if the chatbot is there, guardrail also need to be there because I tried to exploit the application and it worked. Let's see if it can implement guardrail also real quick. And the main idea here is to showing that how from MVP itself little bit towards the productionizing of the system you guys can move or audience can move one step at a time. Let's see, it's still thinking and in the meantime, let's see how much token usage so far we have done. 9%, 28 minutes ago, 19%. Pretty less, not a lot. 10% only. Now, one drawback with the GST was I was just creating that simple DCA app, and by 30 to 40 minutes itself, by the end of the complete session itself, it was around 40-50 minutes of session. Complete 100% was used. GST use a lot of tokens. So for simple application, don't use frameworks. Complex application, you always use frameworks. So it has written the
Okay.
rule for.
Yeah, that's a good one, man.
And one more thing I wanted to discuss is this good thing that they came up with, that is remote control. Because what happens, it's 2 a.m. in the night and I am tired, but I need to do certain, I need to complete certain features, but I do not want to sit in front of my system. Then I can just enable this remote control and my this terminal will be connected on my phone's Cloud Code application. And I can just be on my bed while sleeping or before sleeping for 5 minutes of work or some extra work also I can do from my phone. Or if I am going for a run, but I want my cloud to run, I want to see the notification what I am getting from the cloud, then also I can use this remote control.
Do you have a play with Claude bots? And I
Sorry,
think you were
CloudBot,
posting about it.
CloudBot. CloudBot actually I didn't tried it out. I tried it out. I didn't use it. Why? Because again it was very token heavy.
Mm,
Is if you have enough money for doing simple thing, then obviously CloudCode can be used. But yeah,
yeah,
it was very much costly. It was the cost was coming up very high for doing simple work itself.
that's
That's
right.
what I didn't.
And quite a few security flags also turned me off at the beginning, and there was, things moved so fast that
Yeah.
it's impossible to be on top of all of this. Do you think we can have a bit of a play with trying to put this in a container?
Yes, let's do that. And yes, our see this particular thing is also done. Guardrail is done. So now people can't be
Yeah.
misuse it, can't misuse it. So now let's open our file. Now let's deploy it in Hugging Face. Okay, let's see if it can containerize it without saying. Meanwhile, let me open the Hugging Face. Need to create a space there. Okay, so this is that wall field application that we created that also I deployed on the Hugging Face. So Git thing and Hugging Face thing, both it will automatically handle. Okay, for Git, okay, let's create a GitHub repo also for this particular application. Well, completion design, well, completion design agent.
The idea here is you're hosting the code in GitHub and then deploying it on Hugging Face.
No, no, no. GitHub, I'm just putting in the code so that if audience want to see the code, they can see it. Deploying is the complete deploying itself will be taken separately on the Hugging Face. So you'll create this space, and in space itself, the code will be pushed
But the deployed app runs off the code sitting where?
on Hugging Face.
Okay.
Okay, one
So
no,
the step to push it to GitHub was just for you to demonstrate that you can do that
Hugging Face from Cloud Code. Yes,
from Claude Code from within the VS Code, but you don't need it. It was just you
yeah,
don't
you
need.
don't.
Yes, everything lives in Hugging Face
Yeah,
once deployed.
everything lives in Hugging Face, and let's say tomorrow itself, if somehow I delete my Hugging Face space and the audience want to see the code, so that will be present in my GitHub forever because the GitHub repo I generally don't delete. Hugging Face space I delete after a time.
Right. Okay. Yeah, yeah. No, for sure. But also you could deploy it on Hugging Face off the code in GitHub.
Yes, we can do that.
And
Little bit, but that can also be done. And that will be better CI/CD actually because any if you change something and you just push in GitHub, automatically that thing will be deployed on Hugging Face.
yeah, the workflow that I have been playing with a lot is I start off vibe coding in Google AI Studio, then I
Hmm.
take the code to VS Code and refine it with Claude Code, and then I deploy it with a simple script that Claude created for me. So it's a single click deployment on Netlify. So it's a
Yeah.
quick cycle from vibe code to deployed app,
Yes.
but just a very simple application level. I haven't delved into complex applications with the requirement of these frameworks that you mentioned. So definitely I'm gonna have a look into that.
Yeah. That approach is also actually good. Is generally what I do for regular development itself. I use at least two models. One is Cloud Code. Cloud Code is fixed. Cloud Code is my main development model. And second is Codex, OpenAI Codex. So that thing I keep for reviewing the code, reviewing the plan, right? Because there are chances that Cloud Code misses something, Cloud Code makes an error. So there is other person, other persona itself present whose main work is to find the errors.
It's good to have a bunch of them to leverage off each other and do cross testing.
Yes.
I think for the time, I think we need to start wrapping things up, Jayesh. This is an incredible rundown. We covered a lot, starting from the chat interface, asking what you want, getting the complete plan, jumping into code. We went into VS Studio, we started interfacing with Claude Code, getting the guidance. We went to GitHub, we went to Hugging Face. We got a complete deployed functional app in a few minutes. I know this thing can be complex for many. It's gonna go over the head of a lot of people, but those who are actually thirsty and hungry to learn this stuff, this is a great guidance with a lot of hot tips and how to actually best utilize these tools to get on the top of the wave. So I appreciate you coming on, man, showing all of this to us.
Thank you, Alan. Thank you.
I'll talk to you soon. Have a good day.
Yeah, sure. Bye. Have a good day.
Thanks, mate.
Thank you.